Okay, not here again for part 2 of Pope Leo's birthday dedication decode videos. Alright, just going to start with some numbers here and then I'll move into the real good stuff with the movie Drop, and then some more Dexter Resurrection proofs, and then I'll talk about the judge who died at age 88, and he was devoutly Catholic, and then I will also talk about Giorgio Armani's connections, which was heavily connected to the Pope Patrol. All amazing stuff. So, all right, here we go. Now, originally, my whole thing was that Pope Leo is the White Lion, represented by the White Lion oil tanker from Leave the World Behind, which crashed into the beach which equals 312, which is the value of Pope. And beached oil tanker equals 133, which was the amount of cardinals who elected Pope Leo. And anyway, it was the beaching of the White Lion and Leave the World Behind that signaled the beginning of the massive chaotic transition to the New World Order established on this earth. Thanks to AI, which has a big part in all this. It was because it was publicly released in on 11/30 in 2022, I think. And 11/3 was that Lion King number, that very, very big deal number. All right. Okay, so White Lion equals 690, and from the premiere of Leave the World Behind to Pope Leo's birthday this year, today, 9/14, was 690 days. And Prevost, his last name, equals 690, and Lion of Judah equals 690, like I said. And Leo equals 192, like Leave the World Behind, 192, and so then there's from the same premiere of Leave the World Behind, 10/25/2023, to Pope Francis's last birthday in 2024 on 12/17, which can reduce to 12/8, like the major release date of Leave the World Behind. Anyway, from the premiere to Pope Francis's last birthday was 419 days. That's Pope Leo's birthday backwards, 9/14. All right. Then between Pope Francis's last birthday to Pope Leo's birthday this year, his 70th birthday, is 271 days, which is the 58th prime number, like how Leo was elected on 5/8. That's also 8 months, 4 weeks, like how Pope Leo equals 84. And the date of the jet set roof collapse, which was 4/8, or 8/4 in Rome. Now, there was a movie that had very similar symbolism in it as Final Destination Bloodlines, which I'll show you, and it was called Drop, and it was released on 4/11, 35 days from the Final Destination Bloodlines movie, and Drop equals 53. The 53rd prime number is 241, which is Pope Francis's hospitalization date backwards, or his death date scrambled, and the 35th prime number is 149, Pope Leo's birthday, 14/9. The above time span between the two major releases of these movies, 4/11 to 5/16, is also 840 hours. The 3/9 date was the premiere date of Drop, and from then to Leo's 5/8 election was 8 weeks, 4 days. The main character was parked in the movie in Drop. The main character parked in parking spot P3. P equals 16, so P times 3, 16 times 3 is 48. And Drop is set at the top of a very tall tower, almost a skyscraper. I think it may be a skyscraper, I'm not sure, but it's set in a restaurant at the top of a very tall tower. Just like how in Final Destination Bloodlines, the main massacre event was set at the top of a building, the Sky Needle, like the Sky Needle, in a restaurant at the top of the building. All right, and the Sky Needle in Washington or Seattle or something opened on 4/21, which is Pope Francis's death date, but it was like in '69 or something like that. I don't know. Okay, now Drop set in the same way the Sky Needle is in Final Destination Bloodlines. Okay. When she walks into the top floor, into the restaurant, she checks her phone. It's 8:04. The fucking jet set roof collapse date and value of Pope Leo. And she uses the name to check in, the last name of her date, which is Campbell, which is the same fucking last name on the white side of the girl's family, the main girl in Final Destination Bloodlines. And Campbell means crooked mouth, which is what Pope Leo has. He has a famously crooked mouth, a crooked smile, which there are rumors of how it became like that. But he has a very crooked smile, and Campbell is used in both of these movies with the same themes. And it's set in Chicago. Drop is the restaurant, the tower in Drop is set in Chicago. And that's Pope Leo's home city. Okay. The name of her date is Henry Campbell, which equals 8:04. Henry equals 420. Pope Francis equals 420. The restaurant she went in was called Palette 330, like the name of Iris Campbell, the girl who escapes death in Final Destination Bloodlines. I think it's Iris Campbell, or maybe it's just Iris. Anyway, I mean the value, the 330 value. Okay. The restaurant in Final Destinations was called Skyview, and that equals 114. Like the date, the release date of Drop, 11/4, 4/11. Okay. Isn't that crazy? Like, just what? I mean, like, if you're following my work and like you can get a grip, a little, even just the slightest grip on some of these things, then you can see that there is some very clear orchestration happening with these events. And you just have to open your mind a little, stretch a little bit to see that it's not that hard to orchestrate events when you're that powerful and that rich. Alright. But at the same time, they are working with infernal forces, dark forces, and like how a person who aligns themselves with the Most High, you have to meet God in the middle, and God helps those who help themselves. And so, like, if you do your part, God will do God's part and help you ascend. And it's the same with the infernal forces. If you do your part, indulge the flesh, do the things that feed them, those darker underworld forces, then they will also meet you in the middle. So the magicians who orchestrate these events, these rituals, aligning them with these numbers and all that, they aren't orchestrating every single last one of these numbers down to the detail. A big part of it is Illuminati satanic magic, which is intuition, which is expanding your consciousness so that you can align with these spiritual forces, dark or light, so that they can help finish the orchestration of these rituals. So you do a little bit of alignment, you set the dates, think of the names that have certain values, and you do a lot of planning with these rituals, align them as best as you can, and then these darker forces, through their blood sacrifice that you feed them, they're going to align with you. They're going to help these events align perfectly, or as perfectly as they could be. And everything is always perfect. Everything is always connected to every other thing. It's just a matter of perspective on which connections you're seeing. In Buddhist terms, this is the matrix, the illusion, the Maya. But anyway. Alright. 4/11 was also the release date of Home Sweet Home Rebirth, which was another one of the movies released that same early May, or early April. There are a fucking ton of movies released in early April about the satanic portals opening and demon hunters closing portals from hell to earth, and a ton of shit about structural integrity and structural collapses. Like, I did a decode of it, a video of it. It's on my YouTube. But anyway, one of those hell portal movies was released on the same day as Drop, which was a big movie reference to the jet set roof collapse, which was the major blood sacrifice to open the portal to the infernal realms, to draw infernal power from those realms, and put that power into the Pope's death, and through the election of the new Pope, Pope Leo, which is what all of the Lion King ritualism was done to program energy to go into Pope Leo's election, and just so much shit was done, made specifically for this year with the intention to channel our energy into the Pope's power. Alright, so from the 4/11 release date to Leo's birthday today, 9/14, is 5 months, 3 days, just like how Drop equals 553. And the 53rd prime is 14/9, 149. 27 was the main character's address from Drop, and there's 27 days from its 4/11 release date to Leo's election on 5/8. And then there was 27 weeks from the 3/9 Drop premiere to 9/14. 2 times 7 equals 14. Like Leo is the 14th, born on the 14th. The main character's name is Violet, which equals 88-4 in Hebrew, and Pope Francis was 88 years, 4 months old upon his death. And so, moving on to some Dexter stuff. In Dexter Resurrections, which again, from the last video, came out on 7/11, the 192nd day, and it's another one of the many things this year that was released, like how in Final Destination's Bloodlines, her black college professor was named Leo or Leon. In Dexter Resurrections, there is a really rich guy named Leon Prater, which equals 124, like the Lion King, or like Pope Francis's death date backwards. And in Dexter Resurrections, the first 2 episodes, there was a huge scene with Lion King advertisements in the middle of a busy intersection in New York, and Dexter's best friend, Blessed, a black guy named Blessed, he sounds literally exactly identically like Rafiki, the monkey from the mandrill from The Lion King. Okay, so, and that's like evoking the thought of a Lion King voice actor, and just how like a Lion King voice actor died, James Earl Jones, who was born on 1/17, which is 7/11 backwards. And Dexter was released on 7/11. Alright, so this guy in Dexter Resurrections, Leon Prater, he was a really rich guy, and what he did was he connected people. He brought people together. He was a bridge builder, just like how the Pope is a bridge builder. Pope means bridge builder. And this guy Leon Prater in Dexter, he had a secret club for serial killers where he brought serial killers together to meet each other and to learn from one another and all that. And okay, so he was played by Peter Dinklage, which equals 762, and Pope Leo is the 267th Pope. Alright. Leon Prater in the show, spoiler alert, okay. He is killed on 326 in the show. That's the same day the Francis Key Bridge was struck. A big part of the Pope Francis murder ritual. And Prater, his last name, equals 326 in Hebrew Gematria. Like Robert Francis Prevost equals 263. In the finale of Dexter Resurrection, they played on 9/5, a day before the final Powerball drawing of the third largest Powerball. They had a big scene about a fundraiser that was happening while Leon Prater was getting killed by Dexter. And the script of the people talking on stage during during Leon Prater's fundraiser for the police, they were talking as if, like, the amount of money raised was, amazing, huge. And while Leon Prater in the room above is talking, like, is trying to bribe Dexter and being like, no one can deny that amount of money. So there's all these statements subliminally encoding like programming people to go buy lottery tickets because it's making them think of the lottery, the money raised in the lottery, all that money, and how you can't deny it. Like, and there was a lot of power put into that lottery because, like, I know people who never think about buying lottery tickets who thought about buying lottery tickets, and my mom even bought one. And it's like I said in the last video, weapons did a lot for that Powerball in terms of penting up energy into that lottery process, which was then released on 9/7, the lunar eclipse, which I did a video about the two young saints canonized that day by Pope Leo. The amount of money raised by the fundraiser, Leon Prater's fundraiser, was 228 million, I think. Or, yeah, 228 million. Death equals 228. There's a lot of death numbers here if you want to read them, but in the Dexter episodes, but okay, so Dexter, again, spoiler alert. He in the very last scene, he gets away on a boat, on Leon Prater's boat, right? And remember how the very beginning thing that led me to connecting Leave the World Behind Chaos Ritual to the Pope was the White Lion oil tanker, the boat that crashed. And he gets away in a boat called the Getaway, which equals 690, just like White Lion. And there's 690 days from Leave the World Behind premiere to Leo's birthday today, 9/14. And his last name, Prevost, equals 690. So does Lion of Judah, again. Alright, now... Great. Yeah. On to Giorgio Armani. Okay, here we go. He was born on the 192nd day, 7/11, same day Dexter was released in Superman. And he died 1 month, 24 days from his birthday. And we remember the Lion King equals 124, and Leon Prater from Dexter equals 124. 421 was obviously Pope Francis's death date. He was born, Giorgio Armani was born 890 days before Pope Francis. Okay. Yeah. He was born 890 days before Pope Francis, who died at 7:35 a.m. Pope Francis did. And 890 is the 735th composite number. And he was born 7,735 days before Pope Leo's 9/14 birthday in 1955. Pope Leo's birthday number is 194 spelled out equals 136, like how Giorgio Armani spelled out equals 136. Okay. Before I go further, it's important that you know that Giorgio Armani he tailored for a lot of the costumes for the Young Pope show with Jude Law and the New Pope, the sequel to it. And he did a big, dinner for them in Italy and all that. Like, he was a big part of that show. Okay. The Young Pope and the New Pope, which I will get to in a second. Giorgio Armani died 119 days from Leo's election, which is, 119 is the 88th prime number or composite number. And he died at age 91. And he died 10 days from Leo's birthday. And 9/1 reduces to 10. He died 109 days from Leo's 5/18 inauguration. Francis's last birthday to Armani's last birthday was 6 months, 24 days, like Francis's funeral date backwards. Okay, so he died at 91, 9 years, 1 day from the Young Pope premiere date on 9/3 in 2016. Okay, he died 2,064 days, Pope Francis's death date again, 26/4, from the New Pope. The sequel series he also provided costumes for. From the Young Pope 9/3 premiere in 2016 to the New Pope 1/10 premiere in 2020 was 3 years, 4 months, 7 days. 347 is the 69th prime number, which is Pope Leo's age. And 69 equals the same thing as Pope Leo XIV, 139. 504, okay. That's also from the Young Pope premiere to the New Pope premiere is also 40 months and 7 days. 504 is the 407th composite number, and Pope Leo equals 504. From the New Pope premiere to Pope Leo's 69th birthday was 1,709 days, which is the 267th prime, and Leo is the 267th Pope. from the young Pope to Leo's 69th birthday on 9/14 was 419 weeks. Jude Law, who played the young Pope, is 52 this year during the selection of the young new Pope, which equals 52. And Robert Francis Prevost is considered a young Pope as far as popes go. There's 65 days from Armani's birthday to Leo's birthday. 65 equals 139. Like, again, 69 and Pope Leo XIV. And 65 also equals 1619. And 1619 is the 256 prime number. And there's 2 years, 5 months, 6 days between Armani's and Francis's birthdays in 1934 and 1936. And the 65th prime is Francis's election date, 3/13. 6-5 spelled out equals 94, like Armani's death date, just like 6-9. Since he was 91, the 91st composite number is 122, like the value of Pope Francis. And 91 is the 13th triangular number and the 6th square pyramidal number, and Giorgio Armani equals 13/6. 5-8 spelled out equals 91, like 5-8 Leo's election. Now, Jude Law, who portrayed the new young Pope, he was also in Eden, the movie that Sydney Sweeney played in, released this year. I explained the dates and how they're heavily connected to the World War dates and the rituals this year, and the last release date of Eden was 9/4, the death of Giorgio Armani, who clothed Jude Law in the new and the young Pope. So his 52nd birthday last year was 12/29, which is 249 days from Armani's death day. And Pope Leo XIV spelled out equals 249. The Vatican is 96 years old, and 9/6 this year was the 249th day. And Jude's, which is 8 months, 8 days from Jude's 52nd birthday. And that's 7 months, 3 weeks, 2 days from the 8/21 ritual alignment news of the death of the devoted Catholic judge at age 88. And Pope Francis equals 732, and blah, blah, blah. The Pope died 122 days from 8/21. And this is significant, a connection, because Jude Law, his name is Law, and he's connected to the judge who died at 88, who was a devout Catholic. And he wasn't just any judge. He was known as the nicest judge in America, and he had his own TV show and all that. Let's see if I can get some info on him. See if I can find my post. Yeah, his name was Frank Caprio, America's nicest judge. He died at 8/20, and news of his death broke on 8/21. So the psychic impact hit on 8/21. And 8/21 was huge because, let's see if I can find it. Here we go. It was 666 days from the premiere date of Leave the World Behind. And 8/21 is the reverse of 1/28, which is 12/8, which is the major release of Leave the World Behind. and also how Leo was elected on the 128th day. And the Francis Key Bridge was hit at 128, and Pope Francis's birthday reduces to 12/8, and the jet set roof collapse happened at 12:44 a.m., which can reduce to 12/8. Okay, so yeah, from the premiere date of Leave the World Behind to 8/21 was 666 days, and from the premiere date of Leave the World Behind to 4/21, the death of Pope Francis was 544 days, which is the 666 is the 544th composite number. Pope Francis equals 122, and from 4/21 to 8/21 is 122 days. Then from 10/25 to Francis's birthday, 12/17, is 1 month, 22 days. And from 10/25, Leave the World Behind premiere to Francis's last birthday was 419 days, like Leo's birthday reversed. Then from 10/25, Leave the World Behind premiere date to 8/21, again, is 1 year, 9 months, 3 weeks, 6 days. 1936, the year Pope Francis was born. Then from the 1:28 a.m. Francis Key Bridge collapse to 8/21/2025 is 73 weeks, 2 days, like how Pope Francis equals 732. From Pope Leo's election date 5/8 to 8/21 is 3 months, 13 days, which is Pope Francis's election date. 8/21 is the 142nd prime, and 14/2 was Pope Francis's hospitalization date. And from 2/14 to 8/21 is 26 weeks, 6 days, and Francis was the 266th Pope. 10/25 was also the American release of Conclave, which was a year after the premiere of Leave the World Behind. And Conclave predicted the Pope's death, obviously. Big predictive programming movie. Conclave equals 5/7, and the Conclave this year was on 5/7. Or sorry, it equals 75, I think. And that's how the date would be written in Rome. The exact middle point between the 10/25/23 premiere of Leave the World Behind and 8/21, which is 666 days from the premiere, would be 9/22, last year, when they signed the Pact for the Future, which is huge, which would make that 333 days from the premiere of Leave the World Behind. That's also 10 months, 28 days, like Matthew Perry's death date, who was a big sacrifice for Leave the World Behind. And then 8/21 this year is 9 months, 22 days after Trump's 11/6 election. And I think Trump's 11/5, the election is 333 days from one of the release dates of Leave the World Behind, I think 12/8. The major non-premiere release of Leave the World Behind was 12/8, reverse of 8/21 again. And 666 days from the 11/22 theatrical release of Leave the World Behind will be 9/18, which is the reverse date of Matthew Perry's birthday, 8/19, who was a major sacrifice for the movie, killed 3 days after the 10/25 premiere. Alright. Frank Caprio, like I said, he was a devout Catholic, admired the Pope, posted about him all the time on his social media. His name means free goat. And remember, he died 12 days after the Weapons movie was released on the Lionsgate, which was about the captured souls of the children being fed off of, which are called kids, and their mascot was a goat. And then they were freed and ate their captor, or they tore apart their captor, like the lions. So free goat is very significant for this guy to die at age 88, because Weapons was released on 8/8. Okay. Frank Caprio equals 112, like Catholicism equals 112. He died 121 days from Pope Francis. He died 96 days from his next birthday. The Vatican is 96 years old. 96 was a big number from Leave the World Behind, tattooed on Ruth, who witnesses a swarm of flamingos, which equal 96, and then she sees a swarm of deer, which equals 192, which is 96 times 2, and 96 and 192 represent the laws of the first two realms of the infernal kingdoms. The lunar kingdom, which is 96 laws, and the mineral kingdom, which is 192 laws, which represent the powers of the underworld that keep us trapped in emotional patterns that keep our soul restricted by more defining rigid systems. And 192 is the lake of fire, the mineral kingdom, the molten hot magma that purifies a corrupted soul, which many people know as hell. Okay, so 96 and 192, blah blah blah, they represent the fall of man. This is where these dark forces are trying to pull us down into these lower systems where there's more rigid laws keeping us in check with less freedom, keeping us from ascending into the soul, into God, by keeping us addicted to the pleasures of the flesh and worldly powers. And this is what most of this programming is done for in the Hollyweird agenda, is to keep us in our lower nature, is to make us fall. And Ruth in Leave the World Behind had a tattoo of the word fall right next to her 96 tattoo, or right below it, I think, on her arm. Okay, and that lower nature that we're trying to be pulled down into is represented by the animals in Leave the World Behind, the deer and the flamingos. So, let's see. So Frank Caprio died 96 days from his birthday. That's also 3 months and 4 days, like how Frank Caprio equals 340 in Hebrew Gematria. Brent Hines from Mastodon. Mastodon is an animal, an ancient, legendary, mythical animal. No, maybe not mythical, but like, a massive animal with great weight, great gravity, gravitas. So, Brent Hines was the guitarist from that group, and he died the same day, 8/20, I think, or 8/21 or something. I forget. 8/20, 8/21, doesn't matter. Guitarist equals 124. Brent Hines equals 113, and remember 113 spelled out equals 124. So, and these are the two numbers seriously encoded into the Lion King ritual, 113 and 124. Okay. Supposedly Brent Hines was also a devout Christian, which I couldn't find much on, but I was seeing a lot of rumors online that he was devoted to God, a higher power, and I think that's why he didn't mesh well with the group, but I could be totally wrong. Alright, so let's see. Brent from Mastodon died 36 weeks, 2 days after the Mufasa the Lion King premiered on 12/9, and that's the value of Robert Francis Prevost, 263 backwards. Mastodon equals 101, like Christian equals 101. Just like how Brent, or the other guy who died the same day, equals 112, the same thing as Catholicism. Frank Caprio's 88th birthday, 11/24/2024. If you write it 11/24/24, that can reduce to 266. like how Francis was the 266th Pope. But let's see, let's find some better stuff here. Oh, Brent Hines, the guitarist. His name means hind. Hind means female deer, and Frank Caprio equals goat, or means goat. And so both of these people, they're named after animals that are often prey for lions. Alright. One sec. It's getting noisy out here. Okay. Now. Okay. Yeah, you can read this part if you want. I think I'm going to go back to Giorgio Armani now. Oh, okay. A movie was released on 8/22, which is in the same span of time, close enough to 8/21. 8/20. I did a big part about 8/21 that was all about the Haitian Revolution, which is the only slave revolt in history that was successful. And it was stamped out through history because they don't want that sort of power, being popular known in the collective unconscious, because, we're all slaves. The wage slavery is a real thing, and they try to keep us oppressed, slaving away for their technological advancements, for their evolution. And so the only slave revolution in history that was successful, it makes sense that they don't really want people to know a whole lot about it. But they sent out a signal on 8/22, and it started on 8/21, the voodoo ritual in Haiti that started the Haitian Revolution was on 8/21. So I predicted that there would be something having to do with that for many reasons that I won't get into right now. But on 8/22, a movie came out called Eenie Meenie on the anniversary of the day where they started killing their slave owners. And in that movie, the one guy, he says, "I know a guy who can pull your skeleton out through your body." And they call him Haitian Tim. And then there's a guy named Leo in this movie. Okay. Oh, but first, pulling a skeleton out of a body is a vivid symbolic image that invokes the process of pooling energy from the bones, from history, from the Haitian Revolution, by saying the word Haitian on the anniversary of the Haitian Revolution, where the Haitians killed their slave masters. So in the beginning of the movie, one of the main characters is being roughed up, and they're yelling, "Where is Leo?" They're trying to find Leo. And so then they go find Leo, and he's a card counter. Card counter equals 122, like Pope Francis. And then Leo dies in a horrible way. Brains splattered again, like mentioned in the last one from another movie. And that scene where they were saying, "Where is Leo?" was the 14th minute of the movie, and Pope Leo was the 14th. This is all not that mind-blowing, so yeah. I'm going to move on to the rest of Armani, maybe. So that's why it's interesting that Jude Law connects in these ways. You can reread if you want right here to the Pope who died, or the famous judge who died at 88, where news hit on 8/21. Okay. Lion King equals 91, like Armani's age. Jude Law's debut movie premiered the same day The Lion King was released, on 6/24, which again is 4/26 backwards, like Francis's funeral date. And it happened in the year, and Jude Law's debut movie came out same day as The Lion King in the year 94, which 94 is Armani's death date. And Jude Law played the young Pope who was clothed by Armani clothing. Not in the show, but for the show. From James Earl Jones' Lion King Pope Sacrifice Death on 9/9 last year to Armani's Pope's Sacrifice Death was 360 days. And Jude Law's character's name in his first movie, his debut movie that came out the same day as Lion King, was Billy, which equals 360. Yeah. Yeah, I did a video about that. Nope. That's it. Seek clarity.